The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and filled with longing for them all the day long.
So one of the curses that God put on his chosen people is that their sons and daughters should be given unto another people. That's good? That's a curse. That's good? Do you know what that's referring to? What is it? What part of history that's referring to, sis? Because one thing our people have to understand is how this Bible relates to us. A lot of us are not interested in the Bible because we don't know it relates to us.
That's right.
You understand? And that's why I'm asking. Come around the side. Come around that side. I want you to see the signs what we're talking about. So check this out.
What you said?
So read that again.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and filled with longing for them all the day long.
So what we was reading, and I'm glad he gave you that, what we was reading is that God was going to put curses on his chosen people for breaking his commandments, right? And these curses went all the way from that time all the way till today. So those same people still facing those curses. What he just read was our sons and daughters shall be taken away from us and given unto another people, and that we would be sad and we wouldn't be able to do nothing about it. What time in history is that talking about? Today? So give me an example of how our sons and daughters taken away from us.
Basically everything around us, right?
Like what? So let me get, that's one way, but let me get to the point of what he's talking about. Nah, it's not just spiritually, it's physically as well. You see this right here? Slave trade, right? When we were slaves, didn't our forefathers get their children taken and sold to another nation, sold to another plantation? Was we able to fight back then? No, we couldn't do a dang on thing. They said we should look and our eyes should look and fail all the day long, because all we doing is moping and crying. You seen slave movies before, right? That's what was going on. That's one of the curses. Give me Deuteronomy 28:68, because since we showing you that, guess what? All this history right here is in the Bible. Because you learn in school, we came over here on slavery, right? What did they tell you about us before slavery? What did you learn in school about our history before slavery? Nothing. So you got to understand, where do we come from? We know now. So guess what? Before slavery, we were rulers. You ever heard of the Dark Ages in history? The medieval time. They call it the Dark Ages because we was ruling at that time.
That's right.
And when they had the Renaissance, the Romans overthrew that and overthrew us. You understand? And after that, that's when all this stuff started to happen. Right here. Okay, read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So notice he says Egypt. Where's Egypt at on this map? Where's Egypt at? Yeah. It's in Africa, that's right. So this is Africa, Egypt will be right here. Cairo is actually a city in Egypt, right? Mm-hmm. So it said we should be going into Egypt on ships. So you ever heard of Moses? Mm-hmm. Moses was like, let my people go. They were slaves in Egypt, right? They walked out of Egypt. So do you need a ship to get back to somewhere where you walk? No, it's a spiritual word. It's also a spiritual definition behind Egypt. Get that. Exodus 22.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So he calls Egypt the house of what? What's another word for bondage today? Slavery. Bondage. When we go to jail, you get a bail's bondman because you're in bondage, right? So bondage. We were in slavery. So he said, bring us into Egypt where?
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Go back to Deuteronomy 28:68. So he said he brought us out of the house of bondage, right? So Egypt is a word for bondage, slavery. So put it together now when you hear this.
And the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So he brought us into bondage. Because our forefathers, they call it that because when they was in slavery. When they was in Egypt, they only knew nothing but slavery there, because we were slaves in Egypt. So he said, I'm gonna bring y'all into Egypt again. All snaps. That's slavery. We ain't trying to go there, Lord. With ships. So what time in history did we go on slavery in ships? That's all this right here. That was us. That's us. Slave ships. You see the poster right? What a poster with the ships. Here you go, right here. See that?
That's right.
That's what the scriptures is talking about. This was Moses the prophet prophesying this at the time when we was free men at this time. But guess what? All those years later, this just happened about 400-500 years ago.
Right.
This was what Moses was talking about. That's that slavery that he said y'all gonna come over here on ships. Now, quick question. What people went through that besides us? Guess what? You right, sis. Look. The Mexicans. Where they at? Dominicans. Guess why? Because that's the 12 tribes of Israel. This is the people that God is talking to, saying, I'm going to bring you into Egypt again on ships. You understand? That's the 12 tribes of Israel. And while you looking at it, where do you see yourself at? The top. Judah. That's your tribe. That's your biblical name. And these are the names given to us by those who brought us over here on ships. We are the real Jews. That's right. We are the real Jews. Give me that Romans 2:9 right quick. Romans 2:9. So guess what? We are the real Jews, and that's why we out here teaching our people to show them we are the people of the book. God is speaking to us. You understand? Revelations 2:9. What I said? I'm sorry. Revelations 2:9. So this is what Christ said out of his mouth, right? Read.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9.
Bring it out.
I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich.
So notice, I want you, I know you watch TV media and all that, all the media. You've been seeing Kanye West and all that, right? Lately. So guess what? Christ said, I know thy works, your tribulation and poverty. Works, he said, he know the things we go through. You understand? We out here working these jobs. We now waking up to the truth, knowing we are the Jews, and we trying to turn back by keeping the commandments, right? He said, I know your works, your what?
And tribulation.
Your tribulation, your trials. Because out here, like what they say, it's hard to be a black man in America. Same thing for the black women. You understand? We the ones out here getting killed by police brutality. We the ones oppressing our own neighborhoods. Well, get that. We the ones out here oppressing our own neighborhoods. Drugs on the corner, shooting each other, killing each other. You don't see no other race of people do each other the way we do it. Exactly. And when I'm gonna read this and we gonna go back to that. Read.
The book of Romans, chapter 2, verse 9.
Bring it out.
Tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil, of the Jew first and also the Gentile.
So he said tribulation and anguish on, read that again one more time, because I just told you what tribulation.
Tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil.
On every soul of man that do evil. Guess what? We just named the whole list. You see what our community go through: the drugs, poverty, shooting each other, drugs, that evil music we listen to, whoredom. You understand? Every man that do evil. And he said, who first?
Of the Jew first.
The reason he said, because guess what? You got Judah, which the word Jew come from, the Jew first, Judah, and then you got all the rest of those tribes that was later called Gentiles in the book of Galatians. Read.
And also of the Gentiles.
Of the Gentiles. Guess what? We the only people that go through these curses. We the only people that, because you see people do evil all the time, right? You see white people how they did us. Was they evil? But guess what? They not getting punished for that. We the ones getting punished right now. You understand? That's why we go through what we go through. Because he put these curses and tribulations on us. Now get that back in our Revelation and finish that.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not,
So Christ said, I know the blasphemy, the lies of them who say they are Jews and are not. Who calling themselves Jews today?
Make it plain.
The who? The white people. They calling themselves Jews. Guess what? Christ said they not. He said that your poverty and tribulation. Do you see them fake Jews? Do they live like we live? They rich, right? What you saying?
Very rich. They rule the world.
What?
They rule the world.
They rule the world, right? All right. Now you just opened up a whole other can of worms, man. Give me that in Job.
Finish that off?
Yeah, finish this off right.
And are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
So Christ calls them the synagogue of Satan. He said, I know them who say they are Jews and are not, but they are the synagogue of Satan. Because don't they not own the music industry? And what kind of music that they put out on their music industry? Evil music. Demonic, you're right, because you got what? Megan Thee Stallion is signed to these Jewish people. Drugs, sex, and money. And kill. Do you see them putting their own race of people up there making that music? No. Do you see them putting white people up there making that music? They make a fool of us. They mock us. That's what they do. And all that is designed for us to stay in sin and not come back to the word of God. You understand? So we can stay lost. That's the purpose.
The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
So what you said, the Jewish people, they run the world, right? The scriptures say the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's, which is the white people. So you on point. All praises. So guess what? The Lord gave them that ruler. This was a prophecy way back then. Right? They telling you who the enemy is. Our forefathers always knew who the enemy is. It's only today we forgot who the enemy is. That's why they had to put it in here like that. You understand? So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. As you can see, these people, like I said, we went over the music. As you look on the TV media, what they do, they show us always killing each other on them. The same stuff we rap and sing about, the same way they always portray us on TV. You understand? Let's go back a little bit. When Bill Cosby had shows, what his shows was about? Family. The man in the household with the wife, with the children in obedience. You have Family Matters. All those different family-oriented shows. Morals and values and stuff. So guess what? When this man said, "Hey, I want to buy me a TV outlet," what they did to him? They put him in jail. They like, "Oh no, nigga, we ain't about to give y'all no way to put positive imagery." Exactly, but they would sit up there and pay billions of dollars to Lil Durks, to these young boys and all them who want to make evil music because they allow them to make that. They don't want you to see yourself as nothing. And that's the purpose of them doing that. So go back to Hosea 4 and 6 real quick. That's why we read this verse early. About our people being destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because we don't know. So we only follow the imagery they allow us to see. You understand?
The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
So God says we are destroyed for lack of knowledge. This script, these Bibles, this the knowledge right here. We reject this. We openly reject this. You got
the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathens had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So guess what? Check this out. Right here. So you got this sign. So it says they lay over the book. So when you read in this part of the history of the Bible, this is what our forefathers fighting to get their kingdom back, right? Because we had the Romans at that time trying to overthrow us. So it says these heathens at this time, they took our history and they started whitewashing everything, right? So it says where the heathen painted the likeness of their image. When you look in the Bible, look at that. That's a black Mary, the Virgin Mary, right? That's what the statue originally. Remember I told you we was It's a lot of stuff like that still on the earth today, isn't hidden in museums. So remember I was telling you about the Renaissance period, the Romans overthrew us. They took our castles, our riches and all that, and they put us on slave ships, right? So guess what? This what this originally looked like? This what they did during the Renaissance period.
Wow.
They make sure they teach us the Renaissance in high school.
So this what it look like now?
That's what it looked like now because they whitewashed it. See right there, this man is overpainting the black image of something our forefathers painted. You got a black image of Christ right there, and they making a white version of it. You see that right there? You got Christ being depicted as a white man. And look what it says. This white man that people worship as Christ, he was actually a man who walked this earth and he's a nobody. His name is Caesar Borgia, Development False Image of Christ. This is all in our history books. You understand? They show you about Leonardo da Vinci. That's the man who painted this stuff. You understand? That's why they call it the Renaissance, the rebirth. They overthrew us and they got their power back and they started to rule again. That's why they did all that. And all that was to keep us lost, keep us from knowing who we are. Get that? So all that was the reason why. So another reason we don't believe in it because we think it's a white man's book. Get that.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the inventions of them that corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men.
All right, hold up. So what he's going into, this is Solomon going into the invention of idols. This man being worshipped is Christ is idolatry. That's a sin worship in this man, right? So he's showing you how the beginning of sin, the first sin actually in the Bible was idolatry. You understand? Read.
For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come short to an end. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honored him as a god.
So this was prophecy. It said a man took an image of his child, made him into an idol, and honored him as a god. This man, Caesar Borgia, is the son of the 6th Pope of Rome, if I'm not mistaken.
Alexander Pope VI.
All right, Alexander the 6th. This man was a pope in Rome. Today you got Pope Francis, but at this time and period, this man was the pope. He elected his son to be risen up as the image of Christ. That's who Leonardo da Vinci was paid to do all this. And that was to get our imagery out the way. Because let me ask you something. If you got enemies, right? What you gonna do everything you can to stay on top, keep your foot on top of your enemy, right? You gonna make sure they forget stuff. You gonna make sure they never get the upper hand. That's all they was doing. It's wicked as hell, but that's what they was doing. Give me that in Psalms 82. Psalms 80. What that is? Psalms 83. Psalms 83. So when we about to go into, see, all this stuff was planned out. Our forefathers prophesied about this stuff coming to pass. You understand? So when we reading to you is Bible prophecies, the word of God that's coming to pass. And they still got a lot of stuff in here that got to come to pass.
That's right.
That's why it's important to learn these commandments and keep them. And I'm going to show you some commandments in a minute.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1.
Bring it up.
Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
All right. So this is also the prophet David. He's praying to the Lord. He's prophesying at the same time. He said, your enemies have lifted up their head. They make a tumult. So guess what? What he's talking about is all the nations, and it's going to get to that, all the nations move against these people right here. You got the white man is against us, the Chinese man is against us, the Arab man, the African man, the real African, all of them are against us. Because they know when we keep God's commandments, we go back to the top.
That's right.
You understand? But as long as they keep us in sin, which is why they got media, TV, and all that evilness, we won't never make it to that top. You understand? That's why they put us in the worst conditions they could possibly do. So read that.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
So it says they have taken crafty counsel against our people. Crafty goes into deceitful, lying. Like for example, you got Planned Parenthood. That was crafty counsel. Or they tell you as a woman, oh, you got rights. If you don't want to raise a baby right now, that's fine. Go to Planned Parenthood and get the baby. Maybe it's not time for you. Maybe it's just not your decision. Meanwhile, they making you kill off your race. Guess what? The Egyptians, the Africans did that to us too. Except for they ain't be nice and be deceitful. See, the other nations, they kept it real with us. We just gonna kill y'all off. These people today are very sneaky with it. And we fall for that crap. Planned Parenthood is part of that crafty counsel. There's evil rap music. There's evil foolishness they rap about. Oh, I'm gonna have a baby, I'm gonna go pop in front of Planned Parenthood and all that stuff. Shoot and kill, all that is part of that crafty counsel. That's why we say that's why they push that music out only. Right. Positive rappers, they push them to the side. They're not trying to pay them no money. You understand? When you got Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Black Unity, they murdered them. That's why, that's part of that crafty counsel.
They take crafty counsel against thy people and consult against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
So they said they take crafty counsel against God's hidden ones. He said, let us cut them off from being a nation. That's part of their crafty counsel. That's why you call yourself African American. One guy may call himself black. Another person call himself Mexican, Jamaican, Haitian. That's not our names. We have been cut off from being a people. They made sure we forgot. Let me ask you this. You ever heard of Kunta Kinte? Remember they had that scene. He was like, my name Kunta. No, it's not, nigga. Your name is Toby. And he beat him until he accepted that. Till he broke him down and made him accept it. So guess what? Kunta taught all his children, don't voice who you are in front of this man. You Toby for now. That's basically, you are not an Israelite, nigga. You are African American. You are Negro. That's what they did to us. You are not Issachar. You are a Mexican. You are not Manasseh. You are a Cuban. That's what I was showing. They took all our names God gave us and gave us those slave names. You understand? That's pretty much what they did to us. And they put that stuff in that movie for a reason. That's for their scholars to know. Don't never show these Negroes who they are. You understand? Read.
That the name of Israel may be no more in a remembrance.
It says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's why today we tell our people, oh, we're Israelite. What's that, a cult? What's that, a stump group? No, we are Israelites by blood. This in our veins. You understand? This ain't no title. We just running around calling ourselves. And Israel was a people before it was a land. You understand that? These fake Jewish people with their foolishness, they the ones why this stuff is going down like this. But this is prophecy that they was doing this. David was praying like, Lord, please don't forget. This is what he praying that the Lord bring us back out of this state. Don't let it go on long, Lord. That's what he pleading to the Lord about. See these people right there on these slave ships? They knew there was Israel coming over here. But they got beat into accepting something else. You understand?
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacle of Edom.
So the tabernacles of Edom. So guess what? Caucasians, Chinese, guess what? Just like we are Israel in the Bible, they have biblical names too. Part of their crafty counsel, they don't call themselves by their biblical name because they don't want you to know who they are. Because then you would never be able to connect the dots. You understand? So it says the tabernacles of who?
Of Edom.
Guess who that is, sis? You're right, that's the white people. Notice he's the first one he listed. They've been our enemy since day one. All the way since day one. So you got any other questions? No? So let me show you something, because remember, all this is about us turning back to the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Deuteronomy 20:25. So one thing you have to understand, sis, we have to keep God's commandments. We just showed you prophecies that these men way long ago prophesied about, and these curses ain't even under about 400 years. Literally damn near like yesterday. You understand? Some of this stuff we going through still today. Right? Exactly, for breaking God's commandments. So hear this out.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So before I explain it, what we just read this out of? The Bible, right? So God said a man should not put on a woman's garment, neither shall a woman put on a man's garment, right? All that do so are an abomination, right? So guess what? What do you have on that a man's supposed to wear? Jeans, pants, period. Pants. You're supposed to cover yourself up. You a daughter of God, and believe it or not, God sees you as his daughter. You are his daughter.
Right.
And he has a care for you. He has a dress code for you.
Right.
Because you are of royalty, sis. You have to understand it. Go to Titus 2. So it says a man should not put on a woman's garment. So what is something that you may see men wearing today? Skirts, dresses. You understand? And guess what? That's an abomination to God, because he didn't create us to do that. You have a dress code. Us men have a dress code from the Lord. Read that, Titus 2.
The book of Titus, chapter 2, verse 3.
Bring it up.
The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becoming holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the younger women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children.
So the Most High put women here to, of course, you gotta be sober. You know, a lot of our women today trying to follow Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I'm saying? They want to run around popping pills, being drunk, thinking I'm supposed to party all day. You know what I'm saying? No, you're supposed to be sober. You're supposed to have a sense about yourself. You understand that? Read. He said sober and what?
Sober, to love their husbands.
To love husbands. A woman is supposed to one day eventually get married, to have a husband and to honor him. Do our music promote marriage? No. They teach I'ma be a savage. I popped the plan B because I wasn't trying to be stuck with that nigga. That type of stuff. Do that sound honorable? No. Do you hear white women rapping like that? Chinese women? Guess what? In certain countries, a woman beating got put to death for that type of stuff.
That's right.
Today, they do not play that in other countries. Only America allow us to be loose like that, and they women in America do not do that. It's just us. So guess what? You're supposed to be modest as well.
1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9.
Bring it out.
In like manner also, that the woman adore themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness, sobriety, not with braided hair, or golds, or pearls, or costly array.
So he said the women adorn themselves in modest apparel, right? So guess what? Because a lot of times sisters be like, oh, I gotta wear a dress. I gotta look like Harriet Tubman. No. You dress beautiful. You know how to swag it out. Just cover yourself up.
Right.
He said it's not all about, and he said not broad hair, costly array of diamonds and pearls. He said that's not the only thing you should worry about being pretty. And let me make sure I put my diamonds, my earrings, get my hair done. It's not all about that. You have to also cover yourself up and get your spirit right.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you. It's nation time.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord